What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the throw-in right here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. And a very happy Tuesday, March the 28th, 2023. You know, man, we are just days away. We got a big impact, another big show going for you guys today, because we are just days away from opening day for the Cincinnati Reds, where they will go on and begin their 162 game journey against, beginning with the Pittsburgh Pirates. And tomorrow, I am intended on coming onto this program and talking to you guys all about Reds. All right. Today, we got to finish up the NL Central. We got to finish up the St. Louis Cardinals. And, you know, it's been interesting throughout the time frame that we've been paying attention towards these, our divisional teams, right? The Pirates, the Cubs, the Brewers. And, you know, we look at the teams and we look what they're capable of doing, and we look at how much of a struggle that we believe the Reds are going to get themselves into, and what they maybe need to do to pick up a full-on, you know, win. And we decide that, you know, I think it comes together that, hey, we need to really, it's going to affect our at-bats, our offensive position, because it's going to affect, hey, get your opponents into the, you know, bullpen very quickly. And, you know, what's so exciting about opening day, you know, as I've said this last week, and I'll preach about this again. What's so exciting about opening day is that there's everyone has to play 162 games. And on top of 162 games, everyone starts the season off 0-0. And on Thursday, all 30 ball clubs will get a chance to play. And they will all get the same opportunity to itch their way closer to the playoffs and into the wild card series. So we, you know, as we get to Thursday, you know, I know that there's analytics and there's statistics and there's, you know, people out there saying the Reds are going to finish dead last in the National League, in all of baseball, in matter of fact. And you know what? You may very well be right, to be honest. I don't know. You know, the Reds didn't do much during the offseason. But the one thing that I would tell you is that they have the same opportunity as the San Diego Padres. They have the same opportunity as the St. Louis Cardinals. And they have the same opportunities as the New York Yankees. And what's going to be interesting about this season is that we have some rule changes. The pitch clock is being enforced, larger bases, not being able to throw back to the runner at first, second, or third only so many times. And then, you know, there's scenarios, right? So, and I think the key thing is that the Reds will get a chance to face each other teams, which I don't think a lot of people have really paid attention to that. So they're already excited, you know, come Thursday, we got to be excited. It's baseball season, but we got to get to Thursday first. So we're going to finish wrapping up talking about the St. Louis Cardinals. Today, we want to kind of shift a little bit from on the field to what we could be seeing at Great American Ballpark. Why should we fans own it? And so today, I know this is not the first day we've had. There's been, um, what do they call it? It's been released last weekend, and we're just kind of getting into it. But we're going to go over here on the program all the food options that are coming to Great American Ballpark this year, and I'm pretty excited. So we'll talk about that. And then in hour number 2, we'll give you our local rundown. I was browsing, getting ready for the show last night, and I was sitting at the desk here. The wife was over there on the couch, and like $2 tickets. I couldn't pass that up. So got a couple of tickets to tonight's Cincinnati and Louisville Cardinals and Bearcats baseball game, college baseball tonight. So we're gonna head out to the UC baseball stadium, first time, and it's kind of in prep, right? Getting ourselves worked on, ready to go to Great American Ballpark. Hopefully, I could head to a couple this year. I'm excited to. So things that we're looking forward to tonight. And yeah, it's gonna be a nice, I guess, chilled day. Someone definitely dress warm. See what it's about. Hey, $4. I don't know how much parking is, but hey, can't beat it. So we'll get you guys ready for college sports teams that are in the local area and what they're doing today. And then we'll talk some WrestleMania, as I have a couple. We'll start talking a couple matches at WrestleMania, as I believe we are on the final. Like we've officially hit all the matches. I believe there are 13 matches total at WrestleMania. I mean, maybe there's always a possibility that rumors could have lingered about an additional match that we may not know of. And I guess we're gonna start comparing matches. Raw last night, and we'll get to that in a minute, kind of solidified the last match of for WrestleMania. We were looking for the final tag team to enter in and qualify for the women's WrestleMania showcase, and there you go. So we see the last and final official, all well put together match which Liv Morgan will take on, and Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez will take on Natalia and Shotzi, and that will take on Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green and Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. I guess one of my questions, and maybe I'm just blindsided. I don't know what happened, but what happened to Carmella? And it has been a couple weeks. I haven't heard anything. If you guys know anything, please let me know. Why is she absent from WrestleMania this year? Or why she's not involved in a match? I have no idea. So if you guys have any of that information, please let me know. And then, so we'll talk about some of that. I also have a couple of, I have my top 10 wrestlers wrestlers or fractions in that case, who could be promoted or called up to the main roster next week, which this is the time to do it. It's kind of been a notorious, tradition that as soon as WrestleMania hits, we either have a sharp return or we have ourselves a call up. And so today we'll be focusing on potential NXT call ups that deserve to be called up to the main roster, and we'll give you reasons why. So we'll talk about that today. Tomorrow, as we talk about the Cincinnati Reds, there is the top 10 surprises / returns / debuts that we could potentially see at WrestleMania. So we will come to you that way and get all of that figured out. So we have a pretty two 2-hour show. Want to go ahead and start off by promoting a theater play that will be displayed next Friday and Saturday on Easter weekend. The play is called Love's Not Enough, presented by Enlightened Studios. It's written and directed by a good friend of mine, Terry Chappell II, who was just on this program last Friday. So if you didn't catch the interview, I highly recommend going out there, catching it. If you guys are in the local area and you guys want something to do next weekend, they got 2 more performances. And this is actually an encore weekend performance from the successful weekend that this group had back in January. So tickets are available. It's going to be held at the Community Arts Center in Fairfield, Ohio. I believe it's like $20 for stadium, $25 for matinee, something like that. But get your tickets now because they're going out. And what is currently in the works, and I haven't checked anything this morning, but as of yesterday, I got confirmation that we will be doing a live podcast right here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, possibly TikTok. We'll see, but we will be doing a live podcast to you guys from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. on next Friday, April 7th, leading up live at the Community Arts Center in Fairfield, Ohio. And I think this is a great opportunity. I've been getting a chance to chat with Terry off, in the Enlightened Studios, quite a bit over the last few days. And we really like what type of product we're putting out there. And we want to grow. We want Enlightened Studios to grow, and we want this product to grow. So I know it's not a sports show. I know it's not a sports program, when it comes down to Enlightened Studios. But hey, you know what? It's adaptable. Okay. And it's interesting because when I was approached this idea to do just interviews for Love's Not Enough, and I'm like, well, you're kind of going outside my comfort zone because I know nothing about theater play. I know nothing about Enlightened Studios. I know nothing about Love's Not Enough. And I wanted details before, you want to feel comfortable. When I talk to you about the Cincinnati Reds, first of all, I'm an adamant baseball fan, right? So I can kind of, recollect memories and jot, ideas off the top of my head. But when it comes down to theater play, I don't know knowledge, and I don't know anything. So, Terry and the entire cast has been very, very kind, very open arm, welcoming to accepting me, as well as vice versa, accepting them. So we're expected to go live next Friday night, 5 to 7 at the Community Arts Center. And if you guys have nothing to do next weekend, definitely recommend getting you guys out there and checking out one of these plays. 2 more plays available, April 7th at 7 p.m. and April 8th at 3 p.m. Get your tickets today. All right. So how was Raw last night? Kind of was watching in it. I was a little bit in and out watching it. For the go-home show before WrestleMania, I think this was exceptional. We got to see a little bit of everything. Everything was kind of scattered, and I understand that the focus point was to kind of highlight all 13 WrestleMania matches, and I think they did that in a unique way. Anywhere from but there's a couple more things that were out there. We got to see the 8-man tag match that's initially going to be the men's WrestleMania showcase for WrestleMania this year. Braun Strowman, Ricochet, the Street Profits taking on the Viking Raiders and the Alpha Academy. It was, I guess, for me, it wasn't a great go home show. Maybe expected to see Edge. Maybe was expected to see John Cena. Expected to see, Logan Paul, or even Roman Reigns for that fact. But I mean, for what we got and for what, it was all right. I was pleased. Um, Focus points, trying to crown the qualifying match, last spot for the women's WrestleMania showcase. So we took on that. Um, the main event, Cody Rhodes solo. Objective was solo. Cody Rhodes is telling everyone, "Hey, you're not ready." Right? Cody Rhodes told Solo Sikoa back on Friday that he was not ready for WrestleMania. This is why he was not in WrestleMania. And last night, the objective was Solo Sikoa to damage and hurt Cody Rhodes as much as possible before WrestleMania. And this is the typical, I guess, what you call heel move, where you want your opponent at WrestleMania. Roman Reigns wants Cody Rhodes as beaten up as possible, and I think this just only feeds into the story. Feeds into how much Cody Rhodes should be. Really needs this match, and how much the belief of Cody Rhodes actually dethroning the tribal chief Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. We saw the Usos during the match come out and attempt to attack Cody Rhodes and attempt to the bloodline just annihilating him, but quickly Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, that who, and they've really been paying a lot of attention and making the last few weeks about the bloodline, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and Cody Rhodes. And Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens came out to put a stop to it. And I think out of the excitement, I'm more thrilled a little bit more about watching Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. And something we'll talk a little bit later this week when we start predicting the matches and maybe how the show should run. I'm throwing at the possibility that the undisputed WWE tag team titles should main event night one. And I'm still lingering back around that, to be honest, because honestly, we saw a sneak preview of what we're going to see at WrestleMania between Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair, a week ago or 2 weeks ago. And that was entertaining. I think that was long overdue. And I think we need to see more of that. But honestly, I don't feel like Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair is a main event match at WrestleMania, at least. And so, and I think it would do, I think it's going to do injustice for the Women's Royal Rumble, because for consecutive years, the Women's Royal Rumble winner went on to not main event a night at WrestleMania, especially when now you have this platform of 2 nights where there's a clear opportunity to main event one of the nights at WrestleMania. So I'm a bit disappointed in how the process will be. And who knows? We may get to WrestleMania night one and we may very well see Charlotte Flair defend her SmackDown Women's Championship against Rhea Ripley in the main event. But right now, as a fan, if I was booking the program, I'd say no. I'd say you keep the tag team titles up there at the main event thing right now in the WWE. So we'll talk a little bit more about WrestleMania throughout the program. We're just getting started here on a Tuesday. I want to give a shout out and welcome to everyone who is tuning us in on YouTube. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Be sure to have those notifications on and don't miss a single episode. If you guys are tuning us in, share it with your friends. And if you guys are interested in joining the conversation, leave a comment down below. Head on over to our YouTube page and check us out. Get involved into the chats. We want to hear what you have to say and all that good stuff. And if you guys are also tuning us in on audio platforms, whether that is Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, anywhere you could listen to podcasting. The Throw-In is available, and if not, let me know, and we'll get our podcast on there. Without you guys, none of this is possible. So thank you. Welcome in. Hey, we got 2 hours, long 2 hours ahead of us, a busy day. And we're going to get all that started here with a look at the St. Louis Cardinals and their what we're looking forward to seeing out of the Cardinals this year coming up next. All right, let's step away. Timeout coming up. You guys are listening to The Throw-In here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Alrighty. 12:24 here on a Tuesday afternoon. Welcome back here to the Throw-In on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. And we want to give a big shout out to our good friends and making it all of this possible. StreamYard. Create your own podcast, host podcast videos, host virtual business meetings, and even conduct interviews through StreamYard.com, the proud home of the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. For more information, check them out at StreamYard.com. They got a free version, by the way. You guys are looking to get into something. I mean, $25 a month. I get all this access here. And I'm excited. I'm happy for it. So, all right, busy day today. Gonna head out into a ball game today. Very excited. Probably gonna be my only ball game this season. Don't quote on me on anything else, but hopefully, what I'm hoping to do this year is that, I know, we got a lot of sports teams around here. Xavier, Cincinnati, and we also got the Florence Yalls along with the Cincinnati Reds, and where I live at, we're about maybe a 15-minute drive, 15-minute drive, depending on traffic, with the Florence Yalls, and about a 15-20-minute drive to Great American Ballpark. And we got a couple games wrapping up today, and we'll get you to all of that today on the program. But there's a lot of stuff going on, and we're just 2 days away from opening day. And the MLB, the show 23 is out. I'm planning, hopefully, on getting it today, fixing my roster, and playing the Cincinnati Reds. And for the longest time, I've always played with the San Diego Padres. So playing with the Cincinnati Reds is going to be a new challenge because they don't have, and it's interesting because I'm changing the team as the Padres have guys like, Xander Bogaerts, Fernando Tatis, Juan Soto. We don't. We got to deal with, there's still some exciting things that the Reds have to offer that you get excited playing the game about. But you got Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo, Alejo Lopez, and Jonathan India, Tyler Stevenson. And I think the unique thing is that all these guys are kind of growing up in this sense. And you got to watch the journey. And so this is the first year and I like playing the franchise mode. So this is the first year that we get to actually experience the Cincinnati Reds franchise mode. So, all right. So we wrapped up on Thursday. We talked about the Pittsburgh Pirates. On Friday, we talked about the Chicago Cubs. And then yesterday, we talked about the Milwaukee Brewers. And today, we're going to talk about the St. Louis Cardinals. And Yeah, I know. And I think the first thing that comes to mind when we talk about the St. Louis Cardinals are headaches. Headaches lurk when you talk about the St. Louis Cardinals. And I think, there's a couple of interesting things. Um, this year they don't have Yadier Molina and they don't have Albert Pujols. Adam Wainwright was supposed to retire last year, but didn't. And you know what? I'm not gonna go throw a hissy fit on whether or not they should or he should retire. But I think you finally think that you're getting over that hump and you're getting a fresh start, and then you see them come right back in the picture, and it's like, oh no, we got to deal with this again. And Adam Wainwright is one of those guys or one of those players on the roster that we can really say that it's like, oh no, we got to play them again. And because he's just that good, he's that dominant. So let's take a look at the St. Louis Cardinals, excuse me, and what they have to offer. They are going to wrap up. As a matter of fact, they wrapped up, I think, yesterday. Last game was on Monday. Yeah, they wrapped up their spring training season yesterday against the Baltimore Orioles. Got Montgomery, who picked up the victory in yesterday's ball game, and the Cardinals won 8-2 over Baltimore. And now we look into some opening things. So you got opening day, March 30th. You got 2023 magnet schedules. I think that's actually pretty exciting. Now maybe I gotta find myself one of those for the Reds. They also got on April 1st, they got a mystery bobblehead doll presented by Central Bank. And on Sunday, Cardinals pullover by Cardinals Cardinals promotion. So pretty excited about, if you are Cincinnati, or it's not Cincinnati, St. Louis, what they have to offer. Looks like Pujols is one, and I can't see to save a life. I don't know the other guy. Let me enlarge the screen. Come on. Oh, no. Okay. Yadier Molina and Albert Pujols. You get one or the other bobblehead doll on that day. I had to enlarge this screen. I can't. I can't see. There we go. All right, we're back on track there. So on Thursday, they got Miles Michaelis on the mound for the St. Louis Cardinals, and tomorrow will be another day of what we will get underway. I think tomorrow we'll take a look at the Cincinnati Reds, things that we are excited about seeing and things that we're not. Take a look at the schedule, just like all the other teams. And then on opening day, on Thursday, we'll take a look at the starters for all 30 ball clubs as they were announced early in the weekend. But you know what? Things do always change. Well, they kick things off at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time against the Toronto Blue Jays in a 3-game series. This is all right. Okay, there you go. I think that's a lot better. I was looking at the schedule like, oh my. All right. I think they had like individual teams. All right. So then they roll on over in a 3-game home series against the Atlanta Braves before they kick on a 6-game road trip. And that 6-game road trip will be in Milwaukee and in Colorado. And as I mentioned yesterday, Milwaukee and St. Louis are going to be the two teams in this division that every time when they play each other, you got to stop what you're doing and pay close attention to them. Because I feel that these two teams are going to be the decision and play a huge role in how the season for the Reds, Cardinals, how the season in the NL Central overall is going to go. Then they come back home after the Colorado Rockies. for a 4-game series against the Pittsburgh Pirates and a 3-game series against the Arizona Diamondbacks. They have the day off on April 20th to head on to a nice, pretty long stretch West Coast Series road stands. That includes 3 games in Seattle, 4 games in San Francisco, before you head on down to LA to face the Dodgers in 3 games. So right off the bat, I mean, you're not wasting any time. The Cardinals are going to be put to the test, minus maybe 3 teams right there in that scenario. And I'm talking about the middle of April, where you have the Rockies, the Pirates, and the Diamondbacks, right? In a 1, 2, 3, 7, 10 game, series back to back to back. I think that's going to be the only lenient stretch that the Cardinals have. You got to face the Blue Jays, who are growing stronger year in and year out. And they're, the AL East is open, I think, is open for anyone. And then you also got the Atlanta Braves and then the Milwaukee Brewers, who still on top of their own division. And the West Coast is never easy, especially in April. So a nice, pretty month of March that's mixed between, you have good, tough games, average games, and then bad games. So, I mean, the Cardinals are going to have to hold their own coming up the beginning of the season, and that starts Thursday. So let's get to their depth chart once all this wants to load. Let it load. Let me go back. Let me check. There we go. We're so good. All righty. We're good. So come on back to the page. We got this. Alrighty. So the Cardinals depth chart looks as followed. Adam Wainwright is going to be inside that rotation. Although I will say this, I think this year is a step forward in Wainwright's, maybe could see him during the midst of the season fall down to the bullpen. Because you want to, every year now, you realize that Wainwright could have retired last year and he decided not to. And although, he's known, he's notorious, he's nasty, he may start you off on the beginning of the year. Awesome. Great. You get down to, June, July, August, you may want to make sure you throw in Steven Matz, who sits here at the bottom of the rotation. Miles Mikolas, Jordan Montgomery, Jack Flaherty, Steven Matz are going to most likely be the starting 5, which is a solid starting 5 and probably one of the better starting 5s that I've seen out of the entire National League Central, if I was to be honest. And it scares you because these guys can, what they're capable of doing. They could give you 6, even 7 innings consistently every time out there. And one key question that ended off 2022, begins 2023 with the Cincinnati Reds is, when you throw a pitcher out there to start the game, how confident are you that that pitcher will put you in a good winning position to win the game? And right now, we could only look at 3: Hunter Green, Graham Ashcraft, and Nick Lodolo. Well, when you get to the St. Louis Cardinals, all 5 guys are in that confident area, and I think that's a little scary. And thank goodness we do not have to face the St. Louis Cardinals or the Milwaukee Brewers in the first month of the season. Got Ryan Heasley, Giovanni Gallegos, Jordan Hicks, Zach Thompson. So, I mean, there's nothing really too much that stands out from the bullpen, but at the same time, if you have starting rotation going 6, 7 innings, These guys are going to be nice and relaxed and ready for when their time is called in the seventh, eighth, and ninth. You know, as much as you want to compare a team like the Reds to the Cardinals bullpen staff, well, right now I think the Reds are shooting 5, 6 innings. And unfortunately, I even say the fourth, 4 innings on bad days. Well, the Cardinals don't have to worry about 4 days. They don't have to worry about the workload. And I think the Reds are going to have to worry about the workload a little bit more. Some new additional pickups for the Cardinals this season will be in the catcher spot as Wilson Contreras moves over from Chicago to St. Louis after Yadier Molina retired last season. You got Paul Goldschmidt at first, Brandon Donovan at second, and Nolan Arenado at third. Tommy Edman will be playing short. And this is the infield for the Cardinals that I see the Reds having with Ellie De La Cruz, Mac McClain, Christian Encarnacion, Spencer Steer, Jonathan India, even if you throw that name in over the next 3 to 4 years, if everything still goes according to roll call, right? They continue to make the progression. And I mean, we have some really good, promising players and guys out there. And then you got Noel V. Marte. There's some promises that the Reds have. But when you look at the Cardinals roster, this is kind of like, well, we're not, we could potentially be there in a few years, but we're definitely not there anytime soon. But you kind of do see the guys that we have coming up through the system potentially making their way to the roster in the next 3 to 4 years. Yes, this could potentially be if they all develop the same way. Out there in left field, you have Tyler O'Neill, Dylan Carlson, and Lars Nootbaar. And right, some new names. I know Tyler O'Neill, a little bit of Carlson. They really do have a unique outfield. I think that's the only thing that holds them back. But I think, it's the same. It's the St. Louis Cardinals. And one thing that I could preach about is that everything that if you have good ball players, even your weak guys are going to play well because of the environment. And, you're only as good as your best guys and you're only as bad as your weak guy. And that's somewhat true, but, I think they make up. I think their infield definitely makes up for their outfield. Their designated hitter is Nolan Gorman. So I look at it and you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. A little intimidating. That's all I got to say. And like I said, we'll talk about the Reds tomorrow. We'll kind of do the same breakdown of what we have going on. Joey Votto will be on the IL to begin the season, which is already drawing concerns and issues, especially as we see guys like Christian Encarnacion and Ellie De La Cruz begin the season on the IL. It's like, what's going on? But man, good thing we don't play the Cardinals or the Brewers in the month of April. All right, let's step aside. Let's come on back and let's talk about the Cincinnati Reds Great American Ballpark food. Gonna be hungry here. You guys are listening to The Throw-In here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. What's going on, everyone? Justin here from the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. I want to give a big shout out and thank you to you, the listeners. That's right. Without you guys, none of this is possible. I would also like to take the time and invite you out to our merchandise page, thanks to T Public. Our merchandise page is where you can find all of our brandings from the throwing, which is currently active weekly, to the TNC Sports Talk official brands, to either the prior shows that was part of the TNC Sports Talk Foundation. And within all the brandings, you can select t-shirts in both men and female sizes, apparel such as hoodies, kids onesies, kids t-shirts, phone cases, notebooks, coffee mugs. They have a vast majority. This is why I love T Public. Alrighty. Tuesday afternoon. Hopefully everyone's lunch hour is going well. Like I said, got a ball game out a little later on tonight. Come on back tomorrow, Thursday. Big week. A lot of stuff is lurking. Talking about food and lunchtime. What are you guys eating for lunch? And this next segment is going to really make you guys hungry. I tell you that. Be honest with you. Be straightforward with you. It will make you hungry because Great American Ballpark food is back. And they got some new additions. You're going to see you'll see Chick-fil-A at the ballpark, which I think it'll be nice. I think Chick-fil-A is a good sponsorship, but they got some other in-house, inbred food items that I want to share with you guys. And I looked at this and I was like, oh my, oh gosh. So let's go ahead and talk about everything that they got going on. And we will kick off with the big cheese. All right. It's presented by Delaware North Sports Service. The big cheese is a solid sold in Scouts Alley and Grill and Fry, stand section 415. Man, that looks really good. And I don't know, do you guys like ballpark food? What favorite ballpark food do you like? Let me send this out. All right. So I had to get back to that message real quick. But what type of ballpark food do you guys like? I know out there in San Diego at Petco Park, we had the barbecue, which was fantastic. Ooh, good barbecue. I'm also how do I put this? I heard like the garlic fries at Petco Park, fantastic. Unhealthy, the most unhealthiest thing you could possibly find, but fantastic. I heard that Seattle had a couple of different unique ones, deep fried, frog legs and whatnot. But honestly, yeah, ballpark food, just amazing. And so Cincinnati has their own release, and we kick things off with this big cheese burger. It is all beef burger topped with pimento cheese, bacon, crispy onions, and pickles, served on a pretzel bun, available in Scouts Alley and grilled and stand section 415. And I know when I get to the ballpark this year, I got to try some of these new ones. Some of them don't look as appetizing, but I will definitely try a couple of them. Next up, we have the split finger grilled split Gleyer's bratwurst topped with sauerkraut, Bristow sauce, and mustard, served on a toasted Italian roll, available in Scouts Alley Grill and Fry Stand at section 415 and food bar locations. Now, I mean, that looks pretty tasty, but I'm wondering, and listen, uh these food items, they make it look so good, like you want to buy it, but then when you actually get it, it's kind of all smush and all. And it's not due to the Reds or the concession stands, it's just how it comes. I'm not blaming nobody. We got the soft served red leg soft serve vanilla ice cream with fruit punch Kool-Aid flavoring, choice of topping, and served as a miniature Cincinnati Reds helmet, available in Scout Alley. I know when I take the girls there this year, that's the plan. Take the girls at least to one game this year. Get them some served ice cream out of the Reds hat. You should be a childhood tradition, you guys. Every time I went out to a Petco Park game, a Padres game, I had to get the soft served ice cream in the cup. Keep the helmets, collect the helmets. I just wish, like, where did I go? I went to Grader's Ice Cream last night. All right. The wife was with me, the wife, her sister, and her sister's boyfriend. We all went to Grader's Ice Cream after dinner. And saw the helmets. I'm like, I gotta get one of those helmets. The only problem I had was that I looked at the menu. I was like, I don't want cotton candy, bubblegum flavored ice cream. I just wanted a scoop of ice cream in the helmet. I will literally keep the helmets, and I'm like, gotta collect them all. If someone could find me one of those helmets, collect all 30 helmets and send them to me, I will love you to the day I die, to be honest. All right. Up next is the Skyline Chili Nachos. If you guys like Skyline and you guys like the Skyline Chili, try them in nacho form with tortilla chips topped with Skyline Chili, nacho cheese sauce, and shredded cheddar cheese, available at the Skyline locations at sections 115 and 418. Now, I think the only problem I would have, knowing me, wouldn't say I'm lactose intolerant, but nacho cheese on top of, the shredded cheese, I think is a bit too much cheese. I will take the Skyline Chili Nachos without the nacho cheese and just eat it like that, because with how hot those nachos are and the chili is, that cheese should kind of melt, especially on those hot summer days. All right. Also, they got the GABP, the Great American Ballpark burger. Doesn't really look too appetizing, to be honest. It is a Glier's Geta, a German sausage. For people who don't know, Geta sausage patty, breakfast, love it. Didn't know it until I came out here, to be honest. Topped with American cheese, cage-free over hard egg, and Bristow sauce, served on a pretzel bun, sold at food bar locations. Right now, the image kind of looks like one of them. Not the greatest, not the favorite one I have right now. Next up, we have the Wings and Rings Buffalo Chicken Nachos. Looks pretty appetizing, to be honest. Tortilla chips layered with chicken tossed in buffalo hot sauce, lettuce, tomatoes, red onions, fresh jalapenos, queso blanco, and cheddar jack, served with choice of blue cheese dip or ranch dressing on the side. Okay, pretty nice. Available at the Machine Room. I'm actually pretty excited about this one. Looks pretty appetizing to my standard. Coming up here, we have the cheeseburger fry box. All right, kind of interesting. Kind of getting lazy, if you're asking me. Hamburger topped with nacho cheese, iceberg lettuce, grilled onions, pickles, and Thousand Island dressing, served on French fries, available at the Fry Box location at Terrace Level, section 139, and View Level, section 534. So what? A Big Mac? A Big Mac on fries. I could go to McDonald's and get Big Mac on fries if I'm interested in doing so. So thank you very much. But we'll see. The classic burger. Classic burger is 2 house ground beef patties, so it's like a double cheeseburger, topped with American cheese, tomatoes, onions, pickles, and fry sauce. I think they forgot the lettuce too, as I can see it. Served on a potato bun and crinkle cut fries. I mean, I think this would be a nice classic burger. I wouldn't mind having this type of burger, something maybe simple, easy, fills up your stomach. Maybe the girls, the kids could have it too. Always looking to see what the kids could have. What's interesting with those ice creams. All righty. We also have here the wings and rings onion rings. Classic onion rings, thick cut, crumbled, breaded, and served with Bama white dipping sauce. Available at the machine room as well. Good combination with the nachos. I stick with the nachos in my opinion. All right, we got the curveball up next. Veggie burger. All right, got something for the vegetarians with iceberg lettuce, grilled onions, pickles, and Thousand Island dressing. It's like a vegetarian Big Mac, in my opinion. Served on a broche bun, sold at the Scouts Alley and Porkopolius stand in section 117. And then we also have the Kansas burger. 50 West Kansas burger, 2 house ground beef patties topped with American cheese, bacon, pickles, coleslaw, and barbecue sauce. A little bit weird combination there. Served on a potato bun and with crinkle cut fries. I mean, I would get my daughters the classic burger. Maybe they have a cheeseburger option. And then I would probably try one of, this. It'll be available at the 50 West location in section 131. We're almost done here. Bear with me, because coming up next, we got the Geta Pretzel Bites. Gleer's Geta Bites and Mini Pretzel Bites topped with GTM Queso, or JTM Queso, available at the Scouts Alley. Okay, whatever the JTM secret sauce. I guess the Geta sausage is what would get to me, because just eating Geta plain kind of maybe would upset my stomach, especially on a hot day. This one doesn't really look too appetizing. Is the smoked pork loin sandwich. Smoked pork loin topped with pickled jammed jalapenos, onions, cucumbers, and barbecue sauce. Served on a briochette bun, available at the Montgomery Inn Smokehouse. So, all right. I mean, not too appetizing. There's a couple of ones going back through the list. Okay. I mean, Kansas burger, the curveball, the classic burger, definitely. If I try the other things, I want something else to try. I try the classic fry box or cheeseburger fry box. These nachos, these buffalo chicken nachos, I gotta definitely try. I don't know about the Skyline chili, the soft served, the split finger I'll try, and definitely the classic burger. So some interesting things that the Great American Ballpark will have this year. So pretty excited and stoked out about that. All right, now our number one is home cook. All right. Head on over to hour number 2. We'll get you around the trip of Cincinnati and local sports. Get you the class of the WWE 2023 Hall of Fame class, as a new member was added yesterday, as well as some WrestleMania matches in hour number 2. So let's step away. Come on back, the program. Thank you guys for tuning into the Throw-In, taking you up until 2 p.m. here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
goes her own way, like they don't give a damn, girl. And my God, she owns it. So many heartbreaks, goes back to 2014, and I think that she knows it. And if you've seen her, I know that you would believe it, 'cause I know that you'd want her to. Yeah, I do. Everyone's taking their shot, but missing out.
Alrighty, 103.
I think she knows that. She drives them crazy when she's looking like that.
Hour number 2 here of the program. Welcome back. The throw-in here, taking you guys up until 2 o'clock on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Be back again tomorrow and Friday as well. Want to give a big shout out. This hour of the program is given to you by Spreaker from iHeartRadio. If you guys are looking to upload your own podcast or anything like that, and need a platform to be able to see the analytics, upload many hours, and a cheap, affordable rate, I'd recommend checking out Spreaker.com, the proud home of the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. You guys could check out now, download, subscribe, and follow, and listen to every episode of the Throw-In on any audio platforms, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, you name it. All thanks to Spreaker. Alrighty, hour number 2 here. And still busy hour here awaits for us. We'll take a look at the locals. Take a look at the local sports and everything, what's going around in Cincinnati. So, but before we do that, let's get to you a couple things, a couple of TLCs out of the way. And we're going to kick things off with the XFL. The XFL has, hold on one second. The XFL. I was just checking something. It's interesting. All right. XFL Week 6 wrapped up last night, where the DC Defenders remained undefeated as they beat the Houston Roughnecks 37-16 over this past weekend. The Seattle Sea Dragons beat Orlando Guardians. The St. Louis Battlehawks beat the Vegas Vipers. And the San Antonio Brahmas beat the Arlington Renegades 15-9. Week 6 standings look as follows. DC Defenders remain undefeated in the North Division, having a 2-game lead over St. Louis Battlehawks, as the Battlehawks and the Sea Dragons are both 4-2 on the record, and the Vegas Vipers come into Week 7 1-5. The Houston Roughnecks, still, even though they lost yesterday, are still out in front, a game over Arlington Renegades, as Roughnecks go into Week 7 4-2. Arlington is 3-3. San Antonio is 2-4. And the Orlando Guardians have yet to pick up a victory. Week 7 in the XFL will give you all the highlights coming up, as their next game will be, as Week 7 begins on Friday. Alrighty. We also got some NCAA in the NIT basketball as going on tonight, as we have number 3 North Texas taking on number 3 Wisconsin at 7 p.m. tip-off. And then at 9:30, Utah Valley will take on the number 4 UAB. And that will be tonight. Talking about some other games going on around town here in the great Queen City of Cincinnati. College baseball. Tonight at 6 p.m., we have Louisville Cardinals taking on the Cincinnati Bearcats, and we'll talk a little bit more about that game, as I am intended to head down to that game. Xavier Musketeers will be on the road to face Ohio State Buckeyes. Xavier Musketeers goes into tonight's game 11-12, yet to play a game in the Big East Conference, as Ohio State is 0-3 in the Big Ten, as their record overall is 10-12. Other games noteworthy to mention: Kentucky Wildcats will take on Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. tonight at 6 o'clock also. So let's talk a little bit about the Cincinnati Bearcats and Louisville Cardinals. Tonight's game is going to be aired on ESPN Plus. It is Will Ferrell night, and the first 300 guest fans will receive a Will Ferrell mini promotional poster. Now, I don't know if I'll be the first 300 guests, to be honest. It's kind of a little gloomy. Expected some drizzles in the afternoon. It's going to be a game time, probably be around the 50s, 40s, a little bit. Hopefully stay the entire game, but we'll see as rules change. Tonight, the number 11 Louisville Cardinals come into tonight's game, 19-4 on the season, playing 500 baseball in the ACC. Cincinnati Bearcats are 11-14 with a 0-0 record in the AAC. Louisville Cardinals defeated Cincinnati Bearcats 18-10 in the last meeting back on April 12th of last year in Louisville, Kentucky. Cole Harding is 4 RBIs away from 100 in his career. Cincinnati sits first in conference and 31st nationally in base on balls with 132 walks drawn. Ranked second in the AAC and 76 in the country in home runs with 29. Second in the league in stolen bases, 46. And stolen base percentage per game with 1.84. One shy of the program record. Louisville dropped 2-1 against Notre Dame over the past weekend. The Cardinals battling the Cardinals are batting .308 heading into tonight's game and holds a 3.46 staff ERA. Tonight's projected starting pitchers will be Tommy Boba, right-handed pitcher for the Bearcats, as the Cardinals will have right-handed pitcher Cade Grundy. And it's going to be an exciting game. And I don't get too much. This is actually going to be my first ever college baseball game attended to. And so I'm excited to be able to head out to UC Baseball Stadium tonight. Game is tickets still available. I got the, got hooked, got able to get the general admission, nothing too special. And if you guys are around, you guys head out to the game tonight, want something to do, come by and say hi to me there. So looking forward to it. Definitely looking forward to what has to come. All right, so Hall of Fame is now locked up and said if there's anything else that's mentioned throughout the week, we'll keep you posted. But as of yesterday, Sports Illustrated, PW Insider, WWE confirmed and announced that Stacy Keibler will be another induction to the Hall of Fame class of 2023, which will be held this Friday at right after SmackDown. It will be available on Peacock. So if you're going to watch SmackDown, which don't forget the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal is going to take place. Well, afterwards, hop on to Peacock, give it a few minutes as they get ready, and check out the Hall of Fame ceremony, which is going to be consisted of Nally new entrance Stacy Keibler, and it's going to also include Andy Kaufman. We got the Great Muta, and the not the host, but the overall center attention in Rey Mysterio. And this year's, one thing that I've learned, because this is kind of new to me. Now, I don't know if it's I know it happened last year. The year before? I'm not familiar. This is kind of new that the WWE is kind of going down. This is another year where they're doing it immediately after SmackDown in the same arena, and last year they did it inside the ring. And I thought that was a cool touch, especially since we saw The Undertaker be inducted. And so when we look at the Hall of Fame and we see, at the beginning, we're not seeing so many people get inducted. Well, you know what? That's fine by me. I don't really mind not seeing a whole lot of people being inducted into this year's Hall of Fame, because I don't want that timetable of saying, all right, you got 15 minutes to share what you want to share, and then we got to move on. I like the 2-for-1. I like it being right after SmackDown. I like it be available on Peacock. Unfortunately, I think for me is I'd rather see it on USA Network or something like that, because I still think for me the experience of it being free, and it kind of also draws attention. But to be able to see guys like the Great Muta get recognized, Rey Mysterio to get recognized, and Stacy Keibler. Now, Andy Kaufman, I'm going to be honest with you, before my time, I don't know too much about him. The Great Muta, on this hand, I don't know too much about him, although I know what he's been capable of doing in the independent, run career that he's had, and recently retiring. You live. Stacy Keibler, I let me put him this way. I think Stacy Keibler is an incredible athlete. I think a lot of those quote unquote divas, I say women wrestlers back in the day, along with Victoria and Molly Holly and all that, they've had a great potential, but they and they had to work with Fit Finley, and I've seen those stories all the time. Fit Finley is mastermind, gets a lot of credit for training these these females, but they've had to really endure a lot, because as much as they wanted to actually be professional wrestlers, they were integrated to being divas, of having to do diva stuff. So congratulations to Stacy Keibler, and then Rey Mysterio, which you could only say so much on Rey Mysterio. So that is your 2023 class of Hall of Fame. And like I mentioned, if there's anything else expected to step away, to come up at WrestleMania, we will surely hear about it. All right, let's take a timeout of the program. When we come on back, we'll go ahead and break down the top 10 call-ups, potential call-ups heading into next week after WrestleMania. You guys are listening to The Throw-In here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
Laugh it to the bank like laugh it to the bank like I got it in 10s, 20, 50, 100s, 10s, 20,
Alrighty.
50, 100s, 10s, 20, 50, 100s.
I want to apologize for the 15-minute delay in between the program. Welcome back here to The Throw-In. And for those who are watching us live and maybe catching this episode at a later date on our YouTube channel, Facebook, or Twitter, I want to apologize. Doing a program at the house, you kind of get things mixed in and availability. Well, over the weekend, we noticed that our dishwasher hasn't been draining the way that it's supposed to. So yesterday I called up the maintenance, the apartment complex, and they said, all right, we're going to send you a maintenance person out. But, they really don't tell you the time, the day. They don't notify you. They just show up. And, the wife was coming home, and she noticed that a maintenance truck came in and, try to, indicated to me, hey, the truck came in, and, we're possibly going to have the guy come up and take a look at our dishwasher. So, had the commercial break on a loop in the event of that. And apparently it was maybe a false alarm. So I'm going to continue doing the program, and hopefully that we don't have an issue moving forward with the remainder of the show. Now, she wasn't home. I had, I'm going to put a note up. I had a note up today saying, hey, I'm in live broadcast. Please come back after the show's over, because it would be difficult to stop the broadcast and start it back up. And I definitely don't want to keep putting our break on a loop, because I don't know how long he'll be here. He could be here for 5 minutes. He could be here for 2 hours. And, don't want all the noise in the background or continue the program. So we'll see how, if it, hopefully be able to finish the show today, and then how, based on, depending how tomorrow goes or the rest of the week, we'll see how things go. Kind of just push things at a standstill, in my opinion. All right. So coming up in this segment, I want to go ahead and talk about, the big question for after WrestleMania. And I know it's a Tuesday. I know we're pretty early on heading into, hey, we still got to get through WrestleMania. We still got to get through NXT Stand and Deliver. But it's never too early to start talking about this list. And this list is wrestlers who could be who deserve to be called up post WrestleMania. And post WrestleMania is usually the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania is the show where if anyone gets called up or if anyone returns, that's the place to do it. And so today we have 10 wrestlers down at NXT who are ready to be called up and should be called up if there is a call up for Monday after WrestleMania. And last year I was trying to say, and I kind of wish WWE does this, is that, all right, you call someone up on Raw and then you wait until SmackDown, call someone up on SmackDown, right? If they're going to be on the SmackDown brand. So that's kind of where, my thought is, but everyone still says, all right, it's the night after WrestleMania that matters the most. So we're going to start off with number 10 on my list, and that's going to be Pretty Deadly. Okay. It's a Kit Wilson and, Elton Prince. Pretty Deadly, listen, from, they're going to be hosting NXT Stand and Deliver this Saturday, and they draw a lot of eyes. They're really, they are a tremendous team. They feel like the part. They look the part. They feel like a duo who can be up at the main roster. They have that cockiness to them. They have that, glamorous persona. Kind of reminds me a lot like Breezango with Tyler Breeze and Fandango. Okay, they have main highlights of NXT. So they come in at my number 10, who you could potentially see. If you're going to make a call up, here's one, a team or, that can come up. Coming in at number 9 for me, Ilja Dragunov. Okay. And this one's kind of the opposite of Pretty Deadly. Doesn't really quite fit in NXT. He has a lot of talent, a lot of promise. I can honestly maybe see him attract himself to Imperium in a sense. He has the intensity. He works really hard. I think he'll be a great baby face or a heel wherever you put him up. But it just doesn't seem like he could catch a break in NXT. He just had this run feud with JD McDonough, and it seems like he'll be competing at Stand and Deliver. But realistically, when you look at the match and how Wesley is defending his title at Stand and Deliver, does he really fit the bill to win? Does he have the option to win? In my eyes, I say no. So we see, he could potentially get brought up because if you don't work in NXT, maybe you'll work in WWE, and if not, maybe somewhere else is where you need to go. Coming in at number 8, is Roderick Strong, and I think this is long overdue. The Undisputed Era has vanished completely. He's kind of like that lone wolf that's still hanging around at NXT. I've mentioned this before on programs where I feel like if you stay in NXT too long, then you start creeping the concerns and the problems of, hey, listen, we have, he was like, you may not never fit. I feel like Johnny Gargano was one of those guys who came up to the main roster a little too late. Tommaso Ciampa, they had a great run in NXT, but when it was time to call them up, they never called them up in time to really get acclimated under the new call ups. So Roderick Strong doesn't seem to have any plans for NXT. He could help others look good, like Johnny Gargano, Chad Gable, kind of fit into the picture and see what clicks and what doesn't click. We also talk about post WrestleMania, and one thing that I've read in an article come post WrestleMania is that the Judgment Day is looking to expand, and there's a couple of people who they could attract attention to. Well, it's guys like Roderick Strong who may fit with the Judgment Day. Maybe not, maybe so, but that's an option for his call up, post WrestleMania. Coming in at number 7 is Dragon Lee. He's too good to remain in the developmental system. With Ray retiring, they kind of need another luchador in a mask, a masked luchador to make up to the main roster. We had Lince Dorado, Kalisto, and Grand Metalik, who all got released. That time has kind of shipped and sailed. So maybe we see Dragon Lee come up and kind of replacing that masked luchador role. Maybe also see him with the Dragon Lee, Santo Escobar. Really liking to see that type of feud. Coming in at number 6 on my list is Tiffany Stratton. One of the most promising talents, very still young in the promo, strong promos, convincing character, in ring work is improving significantly. A lot of times you can only do so much at the NXT level. And if you're making the progress that Tiffany is making, having her progress continue to work at the major league level is something that could be suitable. It's like baseball. There's only so much that AAA and the minor league system could provide for a player, but a lot of times you need to get that. The only way you're going to get better is to get that major league experience. And so that's why we hope guys like Ellie De La Cruz and Christian Encarnacion Strand all come up this year, because they need major league experience. Just like a wrestler, sometimes you need to step up to the next level in order to see yourself excel. Coming in at number 5 on my list are the Creed brothers. They'll be in tag team action this Saturday at NXT Stand and Deliver. A lot to offer when it comes to tag team division, and I think that's maybe one key point, going back to Pretty Deadly, on reasons why these people should be promoted up to the main roster. And that's because we need a fresh look in the tag team division. You think about Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn expecting to become and to grab the NXT or the undisputed WWE tag team championships, right? Well, when you need that tag team division. We've seen the Street Profits before. We've seen the Viking Raiders and Alpha Academy all in that picture. We need some new tag teams to come in, freshen up the page, give new rivalries, new battles, and all that good stuff. That's why the Creed brothers make my list at number 5. Coming in and at number 4, I think this is also a long overdue. You could see him he really made a ship change over the last year. This is another guy that's kind of been in the NXT developmental a little too long. Also, when he's had the part, NXT hasn't really used him too much. Is Cameron Grimes, infectious talent when given the chance, to be honest. He's all of the above. I really started liking him before the NXT 2.0 era. And then it kind of fell off the wagon. I don't think it was him. I think it was just the creative writing team. I think it's time to bring him up. Another guy who I could see get involved with the Judgment Day, to be honest. In the sense of, building on, if you want to test NXT stars that you think are ready to get brought up to the main talent, but at the same time not quite ready, or you want them to ease them in, going with the Judgment Day. And I think this year, I've told you guys, Judgment Day is one of those groups that are going to expand throughout the year and have a lot of success. Coming in at number 3 on my list is Indy Hartwell. I think it's time to bring her up to the main roster, maybe even rejoin his her relationship with Dexter Loomis, which is weird but entertaining enough. Um, Feels a little lost since her um, stable mates moved on to the main roster. I think it's time. He receives you know, listen, her involvement with Dexter Lubman was electric. All right, it was a lot given to NXT, and I think I like to see that in the WWE, especially sooner than later, because the longer I think you wait off on it, the harder it is to bring it back. And why fix what's not broken? I mean, that's one of my biggest problems with WWE right now. And I'll tell you this, all right. WWE has a habit of doing this often. You can see this in the WWE 2K23 video game. Okay. When you play the legend mode, right, where, he's the next big star, the next big thing, and he gets brought up. And then he wants to change his character from, you create his character and then he becomes the quote unquote lock. And then he kind of battles against Shawn Michaels saying that, hey, this is what worked in the past. This is what made me me. And this is what you guys brought me in for. And Shawn Michaels like, no, we're going to break you down and re-image you. Well, I mean, especially, that's kind of how NXT does run things. You re-image someone. I mean, look at Butch, for example. Pete Dunne was incredible in NXT UK, incredible in NXT, got brought up and had to get brought up as Butch along with Ridge Holland and Sheamus. Now, I don't think it's a better a worse. I don't think it was, a bad thing that you teamed up with Ridge Holland and Sheamus, but at the same time, changing his name to Bush, changing his image and his character. And I'm like thinking to myself, like, dude, this guy was a battle. Like, this guy was crazy. And then you bring him up to the main, roster and completely take that away from him. And now there's talks and reports about him trying to come back as this Butch guy, as Pete Dunne. And I don't know if the character has kind of been too far away that it would do any difference or do any better for Butch. So, I mean, same thing with Indy Hartwell and Dexter Loomis. What they had going in NXT was awesome. You bring it up to WWE. If you change the image, you're going to probably ruin what was good to begin with. Coming in at number 2 is Carmelo Hayes, receiving a big Plottis full package. He's the it factor. And I think he, you say, well, where does he fit in the main roster? I think he fits as a singles competitor. I think he fits well within a fraction. And who says? I would say he fits well on the Raw roster with the Hurt Business, who I've been, who I've been hearing rumors about reuniting. This could be a new image. Maybe you move away from Bobby Lashley and moving with Carmelo Hayes as that future with Cedric and Omos and all that stuff going on. I can see Carmelo Hayes beating Austin Theory for the United States Championship at WrestleMania Backlash and start taking that new face, that new role, keep on pushing. And Carmelo Hayes, he has it. He's great on the mic. He's amazing in the ring. You've seen him win championships, and man, I there's nothing more better I can't say about Carmelo Hayes. Last but not least, and I think this one is definitely well noted, and that is going to be Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker is one of the guys who I said last year he was in conversation for many of us, including this program, that Braun Breaker could dethrone Roman Reigns. And, through creative writing, Braun Breaker has been up and he has been down in this sense. He's been carrying that NXT championship on his back. He's been carrying the NXT and he looks like he's having fun at this. How many guys as big as Braun Breaker throwing guys around, wrestling with them. Just he's having fun, and I like him. He deserves to be up in the main roster. Now, where does he fit on the main roster? I don't quite know, but it's time to bring him up there. I mean, you're gonna bring him up or not. So there's a handful of guys, men and women, that I believe deserves to be brought up next week post WrestleMania. And I guess the ultimate, decision is we're gonna have to wait and see who gets brought up at WrestleMania, after WrestleMania. Could we see, and this was my theoretical thinking, and I don't know if you go down this route, whatever the case may be. But I was thinking two options. I was thinking LA Knight, either LA Knight or three options now. LA Knight or Happy Corbin, who comes out during WrestleMania not having a WrestleMania match. They're bummed, they're upset, they think that they deserve one, and boom, Braun Breaker comes out, handles business, takes care of them. Complete. The other one is Bobby Lashley. Now, I know he's kind of in set and in tone for the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal this Friday night on SmackDown, but he was initially invited to WrestleMania to face Bray Wyatt. Now, taking away the side, whatever happened to Bray Wyatt, it is what it is. But I still think that Bobby Lashley deserves to be in one of the spotlights. And you talk about promoting other talent. Braun Breaker, I could see Bobby Lashley come out, face Braun Breaker. I mean, I could also see Bobby Lashley answer to the call of LA Knight or Happy Corbin. And those are my two guys who I think should have that type of spotlight. I mean, you think about night two, it's after Stand and Deliver. Braun Breaker loses the title to Carmelo Hayes, let's say, and he gets brought up. I don't know. That conversation, because part of me feels like there is something additional to WrestleMania. Talking about WrestleMania, let's take our last break of the program and let's come on back and wrap up WrestleMania. Let's give you our first conversations of the first few matches that we have and our opinions and our thoughts coming your way next. Alrighty. NXT is live tonight. A NXT go home show before NXT Stand and Deliver. Check them out on USA Network at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. See Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes, Johnny Gargano, Grayson Waller, all of them good action tonight on NXT. Or also here, I want to give a big shout out to Epidemic Sound. Discover your world-class artists, composers, and bands. Find the perfect soundtrack to give your social media accounts the music they deserve. Epidemic Sound is a royalty-free music link. For more information, check out epidemicsound.com. I want to go ahead and apologize once again for people who are watching this live or watching this later. That 20-minute dead period of constant commercial break. Like I said, expecting a maintenance man to come over and do look at our dryer who that won't be draining. Took a look at it. The filters clean. I mean, took apart the dryer. I don't want to get too deep into it. Also, not know how to put it back together. So thought they were here for that. They end up taking off, and so I guess we're waiting. And that's it's an apartment complex. So I don't know when they're going to show up. They could show up today. They could show up tomorrow, whatever the case may be. But, I have made a note prior to the show that said, hey, hey, listen, doing a live broadcast, company come back afterwards, but I don't want to risk missing them altogether. All right, last segment of the program, we're going to be start talking about some WrestleMania matches. That all comes your way here right after this quick promotion.
Like no one cares. Where is your heart? What does it look like? Bruised, damaged, or mistreated. Where is your heart? What does it look like? What do you do with the feelings you feel?
Alrighty, and that being said, we want to go ahead and promote once again Love's Not Enough, a theater play presented by Enlightened Studios, written and directed by Terry Chappell II. An encore performance from a successful event back in January will happen again on Easter weekend, April 7th and at 7 p.m. and April 8th at 3 p.m. at the Community Arts Center in Fairfield, Ohio. And if you haven't heard the breaking news, we will be going live at the Community Arts Center from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. before the production on April 7th, which is next Friday. So if you guys have open schedules for Easter weekend, head on out to one of these performances. We're going to sit down with a lot of the guests, a lot of the vendors, even the cast members, the audience. Come on by. We'll chat with you. Exciting to be able to chat and talk all this fun stuff about Love's Not Enough, a theater play. Cannot miss it. Man, excited for this venue. Our first step, kind of moving forward. Very nervous and very excited. All right. So where do we begin when we start talking about WrestleMania? There's a couple of things I kind of want to address. I'm not going to give predictions until Friday, but I want to go ahead and start breaking it out and start talking to you about what WrestleMania has to offer. And the final books were set last night in the qualifying match where we saw, let me see where I have it, where we saw, there we go, where we saw Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville win and advance to the Women's WrestleMania Showcase match. And we'll be facing Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler, Natalya and Shotzi, Liv Morgan, and Raquel Rodriguez. Now, personally, all right, I'm not necessarily a fan of this one, nor either the men's WrestleMania Showcase match. I'm assuming, and I'm going to make the assumption that these two matches will be taking place as the kickoff match before WrestleMania. So when they have the kickoff panel. And I guess my reasoning behind not being interested in neither matches is that although I understand it gives people like Ronda, Shayna, Natalya, Liv, Raquel, the opportunity at WrestleMania, there's no stipulation, there's no benefit from having this match. I mean, it's not like they're going to become the number one contenders, and possibly they may, but there's no confirmation that they're going to become number one contenders for the women's tag team championship. So, and it's the same thing that works with the men's WrestleMania Showcase. We have Ricochet and Braun Strowman taking on the Street Profits, taking on Alpha Academy, and taking on the Viking Raiders. And as we see, maybe the Street Profits should be at WrestleMania. Alpha Academy, all 8 men deserve to be at WrestleMania. But nonetheless, I don't believe that these men, there's really nothing that gravitates my attention to watching it. So if I watch the kickoff panel, which I get lazy a lot of times, and trust me, when they just sit there and they talk about WrestleMania, I do get lazy, but maybe when I'll watch it, tune into it, not really going to care. Now, is the winner of this match going to go on and face who the undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions at Backlash? I don't know. So I guess overall, there's really no stipulation or there's no honorary reward compared to like Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which will be on Friday, that comes with these two matches. So I'm not really just too fond of them, not really too happy. There are a couple that I am wanting to start talking about. And the first match I think of is going to be Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar and Omos. And they're going to go one on one. Now, I've heard kind of some insights of how this match came across. It was supposed to be Brock and Bray just didn't think this wasn't going to sell. And honestly, I don't know if this one is going to sell also. Because as I mentioned to you, I know, I appreciate how Brock is, this new informative of Brock Lesnar, this new character, exciting character. It's been fun because every time we've seen Brock Lesnar, he's been excited to watch, to watch him compete in the ring. What he's done at SummerSlam, facing Roman Reigns last year at WrestleMania, just this and that, facing Bobby Lashley a few times over the course of the year. I mean, so he's been fun to watch, but he hasn't really picked up any big victories, and he's kind of been on that downhill spiral, if you ask me. And so, picking up a win like Omos will get him back onto that winning streak. But then let's look at Omos for a second, because he's kind of, he's gone on, he's had some matches. I'm assuming he's worked pretty hard trying to train and continue. And, this is that one thing, one difficulty when you have a big man, a tall man like Omos trying to be in ring, it's either you can move around like Braun Strowman or Yokozuna, who are just flawless in the ring, or you're stiff as a cucumber and you move around like like Giant Gonzalez. And at the beginning of the career, Omos was a Giant Gonzalez in a sense. So it would be interesting, and what I'm paying attention for this match is how well Omos moves in that ring. Is he in ring ready? And especially on his own. Now, Brock Lesnar's in there. He's going to help him. He's going to help Omos, sell some stuff for him, definitely make it challenging and make it interesting. But if Omos loses, everything that MVP is trying to build, everything that Omos is trying to move forward with, if you can't beat the beast, then where does he go from here, to be honest? Because it's now you're going to have a chip on your shoulder moving forward. If you don't beat Brock Lesnar, that no matter how much success you have, you're not going to be able to beat the man. And Brock Lesnar is still considered to be, quote unquote, the man. If Brock Lesnar loses too, he just kind of still is on a downward spiral. And Brock Lesnar's wrestling matches, I feel like he could still go, but could be numbered. And so, this is really taking a huge hit. Although understanding the purpose and the understanding behind this match, and hey, let's help Omos get over, I think that this is just one sticky match that if you win, you lose, it hurts tremendously out of one of the opponents, which is also going to make it interesting to watch as well. This is one of the matches that I'd get up and go to the bathroom with, to be honest. I want Brock Lesnar to win. I like Brock Lesnar, to be honest. I think Omos is the one to get over with, and then I kind of question the future for Brock Lesnar and what else is he going to do? All right, let's keep on moving forward, because we also want to talk about this match, because I don't know. It kind of rubs me the wrong way. Seth Rollins and Logan Paul. Okay. And I say it rubs me the wrong way because these are two men who don't have a rhyme or a reason. Seth Rollins wants a WrestleMania match, and he almost finds himself without a match like he did last year. But then you see Logan Paul, he had to take it. So Seth Rollins had to take it to social media to find himself a WrestleMania match at WrestleMania. And he goes out and he calls the shot, saying like, dude, Logan Paul, you're a social media sensation. Great. You don't belong in the ring. And I don't disagree with him. But what Logan Paul has done over the last year and a half in the ring is undeniably, you cannot it's undeniably remarkable, and you cannot not pay attention to it. All right, Logan Paul has proven himself that you could get into in-ring shape, and he could have put on some really good matches. I wouldn't say that they're 5-star matches, but they're really good matches. All right, over the last, I say, 3 to 4 years, to be honest, Seth Rollins has taken that back seat to the face of the company. Yes, he's had to carry on and hold Raw together over the last year, and he was named the workhorse of the year, but he's doing it without a title, which I do give a lot of credit to. This match at WrestleMania, though, Logan Paul, Seth Rollins, although it fits, although it works, and although both men know how to carry themselves, and I think this is going to be a really good match. Who do honestly, I think it's a little sad that Seth Rollins has to refer back to social media to get a WrestleMania match, and it has to come under the hands of Logan Paul. Don't want to disrespect Logan Paul, absolutely not, but Seth Rollins going Logan Paul. I feel like this is like a Big Show Mayweather match almost in that Hall of Fame kind of celebrity match sense. And last but not least, the match I really want to wrap up our program with today is talking to you about the 6-woman tag team match. And that's going to be Damage Control taking on Becky Lynch, Lita, and Trish Stratus. Now, I was very excited to see Lita and Becky Lynch become the women's tag team champions. And I think for a moment, although plans change, we were looking or expecting to see Lita and Becky Lynch, face Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler at WrestleMania for the Women's Tag Team Championship. Now, if that's the case, I think Trish Stratus would have had a one-on-one match with Bayley, and I would have been fine with it. And I'm fine with this match, and I think this works perfectly. It's interesting because Becky Lynch is another name who is at the top of that women's division, who doesn't have to rely on a title to carry them through. Now, I think this match does more wonders for Damage Control because Dakota Kai and Hero Sky will get the platform of a lifetime, and every opportunity counts. And even if you make that 1-year WrestleMania appearance, make the most of it. So for Damage Control, I really say, listen, just enjoy it. Also, to be able to step in the ring with 2 Hall of Famers in Lita and in Trish Stratus, I think is also much more remarkable. These are 2 women that we grew up in the WWE in the early 2000s watching revolutionize women's wrestling, in all honesty. I think this is really much of an easy one-sided victory. WrestleMania moments, great to see Lita and Trish Stratus and Becky Lynch to head over. But then I think coming up the night after Raw, all seriousness aside, let's focus in on that women's tag team championship reign. If it's Damage Control once again challenging them at Backlash, so be it. But I think it's time, and I know they've been talking about this for quite some time, to have themselves to bring back and utilize the women's tag team championship. So in my opinion, in my eyes, I say Damage Control will lose, but then moving forward is what I'm really more interested in. So what more is to come? I got a lot more matches coming your way that we will talk about here over the next few days as we wind closer to WrestleMania. We'll come back tomorrow. We'll talk about the Cincinnati Reds and also take a look at some of the things that look at the roster, at the schedule, and all that good stuff. We'll also go ahead and talk about the some more WrestleMania matches, and we'll also break down what NXT Stand and Deliver means after the go home show of NXT takes place tonight. All right, so we got NIT tournament tonight, some college baseball games, and a lot still more to come. We'll still come back tomorrow and cover a lot more of that stuff. Thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate everyone being patient with us today. And until tomorrow, you guys enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. You guys take care. You guys were listening to The Throw-In here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Take care.